Hello, everyone. Welcome to Microdesk BIM 360 Workflow Series. This is our final session 7. We're going to give folks just a minute or two more to hop on, so just sit tight. Thank you. All right, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. So once again, welcome to Microdesk BIM 360 Workflow Series. This is our final session, session 7, and today we're focusing on BIM 360 for operations. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions, please make sure you're asking them in the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple days. You're going to receive an email with a link once that's available. And before we jump into the webinar, I just want to introduce Microdesk to you all. Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist architecture, engineering, construction owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technology. 25 years later, and that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and the UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and at all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that in the US alone, we'll build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure you're prepared to meet these demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with their vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry expert consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. Whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full-service consulting. This includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessment, mentoring and support, and much, much more. We partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impacts of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently. Now I'm going to let Peter hop on and he'll take you through today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Destiny. So my name is Peter Marchese. I'm the Senior Technology Evangelist over at Microdesk. I have over 25 years of experience at this point in the industry. I worked as an architect for about 10 years before moving into Microdesk. And I focus mostly on the emerging technologies, BIM, and seeing how far we can take the current technologies and how we can utilize them in different ways, helping ourselves as well as all of our clients understand how they can define where they're going to go in the next few years for a roadmap, and also how they can differentiate themselves from their competitors. Now, today's agenda is we're going to be going over the webinar series, touching on BIM 360 and how it works with different assets, focusing on one tool called BIM 360 Ops, and going over a lot of the other asset integrations that work with BIM 360. And then finally following it up with Q&A. I'll be keeping an eye on the questions and answer window though, so if you do have questions throughout the presentation, definitely feel free to drop it in there. I'll try to answer it while I'm going through things. If it doesn't quite fit in, I'll make sure I touch on it at the end. Now, before I get rolling, I just want to ask everybody just a couple of quick questions. I'm going to launch a couple of polls here for you. So the first one is pretty basic. What's your role? Are you a designer? Are you in finance? Are you operations? So always good to know who it is that I'm talking to. It's a little harder to do it these days from a distance. Alrighty. Thank you. The next one, are you currently working with BIM 360 services? Could be docs, design, build, ops. Alrighty. And then finally, are you currently using any BIM or model data in operations? So if you've already got like an asset management protocol, are you just uploading Excel files, or are you actually connecting data to a model that you can utilize back and forth? Okay, thank you very much. All right, so let's get rolling. So the workflow series that we've done try to look at BIM 360 from more of a holistic set. Rather than looking at it in a series of picks and clicks, we talked about the actual processes people would take. So how would we actually set up the BIM 360 site, going over into the project setup, and then setting up and using different services from design, model coordination, build, and then the different mobile assets. Now today's focus is going to be on the operations side of things. So we're going to be touching on a couple of different tools and a couple of different workflows and how we can take advantage of that. Now, if you're new to BIM 360 in general, the overall idea is that it's built on a consistent bed of APIs, basically. So rather than the old days where you had BIM 360 Field and Glue, which were very separate, they were different purchases. BIM 360 in the next gen or current setup is much more of a homogeneous workflow. So you've got the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and within that you've got BIM 360, Plan, Grid, Assemble, and Building Connected. And on the BIM 360 side, things are consistent. You don't have multiple things where I have to upload it there, then upload it to 5 other places. You've got more of a consistent setup. You have your document management components, but within that, you have a lot of different things that you can do. Document sets, approval workflows, 3D views, clash results, handover, and the assets. And that's one of the big things that we're going to be talking about today. Now, throughout the course of the workflow series, we've talked about the different components. The one thing we haven't touched on is the ops component. Now, ops is not fully integrated into the next gen service. It's still considered more of one of the classic services. So with that said, it is a little bit different in terms of how you access it, how you work with it. But this is a tool that is mobile and cloud-based, similar to the other ones. So there's nothing that you need to install locally to run with it. And it's a great cloud asset management and ticketing service. So if you're looking to get into something, maybe you don't have BIM data, or you have a little of it and you're trying to figure out how to take advantage of it, and you're trying to move into having an asset management component, it can be very beneficial. Now, with the different services that we're going to talk about, you've got your operations and you've got BIM 360 Ops. That's the main operations or facility management component that Autodesk has out right now. Now, that's not to say that's the only workflow that's available though. So you've also have applications that you can use BIM 360 Build and Assemble for. You also have the Autodesk Construction Cloud and Autodesk Forge. If you're looking to do something a little bit more, let's say complex, but a little bit more customized. Like I need to connect A to B, and there's no tools that already do this. So how can I make that happen? And then outside of that, Microdesk has also created some bespoke software, one of which is called Model Stream, and the other one is more of a platform called BIMRX. So we're going to be going over all of these different options on how you can take advantage of BIM 360 for your operations and maintenance. Now, on the BIM 360 ops side, so for people who aren't familiar with this, this is essentially a tool that allows you to create issues or tickets for your assets and your building. So simple way about this is, let's say that you have a building and you have occupants or you have renters, and I want to streamline the process for them to say that something is wrong or something needs maintenance or service. And then I can easily track that and have my people that are out in the field taking care of things. They can get insight into what's going on. They can be a little bit more proactive than reactive, and we can track everything. A simple workflow from this would be that the building occupant would open up the app or go to the website, and there's different user types that you can assign so you can manage your user rights. But a occupant would go in and they would say, okay, well, what are the things that I can say? You know, is it too hot? Is it too cold? The power's out, the internet's down, you know, whatever. They can create that ticket, and then that ticket can go in and be tracked. They can modify what the priority is. They can actually tell somebody exactly where that ticket is, meaning is it in the third floor? What flat is it in? What location is it inside the building? They can add photos and videos. If there's a leak, they can actually show you exactly where that leak is. Now, from there, I can then have my maintenance team track all the open issues. They can easily see what the statuses are. They can filter things. They can focus on what's going on and modify that status. So are they assigning it to somebody? Is it finished and ready for inspection? Are they waiting on things? So from there, they can go to the site, and if they are utilizing a couple of different things here. So what you're looking at right now is the iOS app. So currently, there are no components of BIM 360 Ops that work on Android outside of using the browser. So this indoor maps functionality is specific to two things. Number one, you have to be on the paid version of BIM 360 Ops, because there is actually a free version of this that works and has most of the functionality of the paid one. So you need to be on the paid one, and you need to be using the iOS app and part of the indoor mapping data setup with Revit and iOS. So you can actually create this, so that way when I'm on site, it'll take advantage of both my GPS and the Wi-Fi and route me through whatever the building is to where I need to get to. Now, in addition to that, let's say what I'm looking for is an asset that is mobile. So if I'm using this in a building where some of the things are on carts, they're not always in the same location, I can actually apply an iBeacon to these elements, and that will allow me to track where they are within the property. Again, that's specific to the paid application as well as to using the iOS components. Now, outside of those options, let's say that I'm on site and I'm trying to get information about a specific piece. So doing my maintenance, I'm checking out the facilities, and I see something during that. What I can do is actually scan the barcode, and that'll take me right to that specific piece of equipment. And then from there, I can bring up a lot of information. I can see what the scheduled tasks are. Is there any maintenance that's coming up? When was the last time maintenance was done? I can go through and actually bring up a 3D view of that model, so I can see what the design is saying things are at. So where should this be? Is that supposed to be connected to this? You know, what's going on with the warranty? And then from there, I can also bring up more information. If the setup for this, when we were commissioning the building and getting things running, if we put in all of our operations data, so manuals, exploded diagrams, you know, all the PDF and content that would typically be in there, I can open that up and go right to work. And once something is finished, if I want to, as an owner, set things up to ensure protocols are met, I can then create checklists for users to follow. So once something is finished, I need them to inspect it, clean it, replace this, whatever. I can create more of a checklist to ensure that if somebody says they fixed it, I can also ensure that they're going through the process required to make sure things are going to be done the right way. Now, after you're dealing with tickets, one of the things that you're going to want to know is, okay, well, how are we doing with them? Are things taking a long time? Are we getting a lot of tickets in certain locations or for certain kinds of tickets? So I can actually track all this. I can create reports and ensure that I have full understanding of what is actually going on. And I can also do this from a graphic standpoint on my maps. So if I'm looking at my floor plan and we've set all this up already, I want to find out if we're getting a lot of problems in specific locations. You know, it's over time, you might not realize that we've had the same issue or just a lot of issues in a certain region. You know, maybe there's a problem with the temperature in a certain space that's causing equipment to fail. This is the kind of thing that makes it easier for me to understand and visualize my issues, so that way I can act on them. Now, BIM 360 Ops is Autodesk operations and management and maintenance solution. Now, it does have some integrations with the other tools, though. So BIM 360 Ops can connect to BIM 360 Field. Now, notice here I'm saying Field, not Build. So it's connecting to the actual classic service. So if what you were doing was you were using the assets component in the classic service, one of the features I have here is the ability to export to BIM 360 Ops. So that actually allows me to take all the equipment that I have inside of BIM 360 Field class, if I had additional information in those assets, so photos, PDFs, content like that, that makes it very easy for me to send it right from there into the ops service. So if we've been using Field Classic on a project doing our commissioning, perfect. I can take that and then easily streamline that into the next step. Now, another integration we have is with BIM 360 Ops and Revit. So there's actually a plugin for Revit that allows me to export to BIM 360 Ops. So what I can do is export my locations. So when I'm actually setting up my assets, I can say they're in this room or this floor or that location. I can also select specific assets within my model and send those to BIM 360 Ops as well. Now, this does work with multiple versions of Revit. There are a few caveats here with this, though. When you are using this, the model can't actually be on BIM 360 Design. So you essentially have to do like a save as or download one of the files, and then you'll be able to open it and send that to BIM 360 Ops. And Ops does have the ability to export your equipment lists or assets out to Excel. So if there is something that I need to do round trip data back into Revit, it is possible to do that using a tool like Assemble, BIMRX, Core, or anything else like Dynamo that can pull data from Excel and bring it back into Revit. Now, another one down here is BIM 360 Ops and PlanGrid. So what I can actually do is create an integration that allows you to manage work order tickets. So if you're creating a ticket inside of PlanGrid on the floor plans, I can easily synchronize that with Ops, so that way it's trackable there as well. Now, in terms of other integrations for the operations and maintenance workflows, so there's a couple of things. On the Assemble front, one of the things that we looked at a little bit when we talked about Build was the ability to synchronize Assemble with BIM 360 Build, the new assets component. So Assemble has that ability to take all your assets that are inside of the models there and export them out or synchronize them into spreadsheets. A lot of companies that are dealing with facility management or building operations, they're starting off with Excel spreadsheets. They're tracking all their data there. So if we're looking at this as more of a long-term roadmap, right now we're just dealing with Excel. We're getting in models that are BIM and have data, but we're not really sure how to take advantage of things or how to work with things. If you're taking advantage of Assemble, this starts that process off very easily. What I can do is say, I want these fields in my spreadsheet to actually be synchronized with the data inside of Assemble. So I'd still be working with my spreadsheet data, so I'm comfortable with that. But now I'm starting to work with the intelligent information from my models, and I can synchronize my data back and forth. And then as I start to move maybe from a spreadsheet to something else, I have a very good and accurate data set. It's not looking at information that was put in 3 or 4 years ago. It's actually keeping up to date. Now, Other things that I can do with this is I can actually track this with Primavera. So some clients might be using something like P6 for the schedule of maintenance. So Assemble can tie into that. And there also is a mobile app that I can utilize that allows me to edit data in that model. So there's certain property values that I can modify there that can then push back into my project. So a good amount of functionality there that can be utilized for operations. Now, the other side of this is BIM 360 Build. So I mentioned before how Field Classic had the ability to export to BIM 360 Ops. Again, it also has the ability to export to Excel. And I do have that same ability to do the export and import with Excel databases from the next-gen version of the app. Now, the next-gen service is still very new, so we know there's going to be a lot more development on that and a lot more options in terms of integrating our assets into operations workflows. Now, on the Microdesk side, we actually developed a tool called Model Stream. We had many clients that were using IBM's Maximo service for managing their operations and equipment and assets. So what we did was we developed a tool that would actually synchronize data with Revit and Maximo. As a building owner, you've spent a lot of money getting the building created, and we've used BIM to make sure that that design and construction was as efficient as possible. What we don't want to do is lose all the information and benefit of that model. So what this allows us to do is literally synchronize specific data inside of Revit with the Maximo service. So I can import data from Maximo into Revit. I can push from Revit to Maximo. I can create whatever mapping structure I need. Maybe certain information is called one thing in the properties in Revit, and they're called something else inside of Maximo. So this allows me to very easily manage that. And the other benefit of this is that when I'm inside of Maximo, I now have a model viewer. So I can actually see my information inside of there. I can track my work orders. I can ensure that the data that is entered there is also available inside of my Revit model. And again, we also have our BIMRX platform. The main component I would think here that would be beneficial from the operations standpoint would be more the BIMRX core that allows me to import and export with Excel from a basic standpoint. But we also have fabrication tools. So if you're taking a design model and you're trying to make something that is more accurate to the actual as-builts, our tools inside our fabrications component helps with that too. Now, in terms of custom workflows, so let's say all the things that I've shown you are nice, but they don't really work for what you want. What we're looking right here is a proof of concept that one of my coworkers made a couple of years ago now. And what he's actually showing is a mobile app that he created that ties into BIM 360. So he's looking at the model that is in BIM 360 design, and he's able to actually edit the parameters from his mobile app. And now he's actually going to synchronize the model inside of Revit with the changes that he just did in the cloud. And you can see how elements have just changed color based on a view filter that he had. So what this is showing you is that if you have specific integrations that you want to make, you really want people to be able to work in the field on a mobile device. You would rather connect with Aconex or, oh God, I just lost the name of it, other operations or facility management services than the ones that we've shown here. That doesn't mean that you can't integrate BIM 360 with them. It means that you might have to do something a little custom, whether it's using the Forge APIs and creating that integration yourself, or having someone like us do that for you, or using something a little bit more user-friendly, like the Construction Cloud Connect, where I'm creating rule-based or recipe-based workflows. You know, if a change is made in this service, I want you to push that change out to another one. But this is just a quick representation showing you what's actually possible. So, any questions on this? If anybody wants to see anything live inside of BIM 360 Ops, I'll be glad to share that. Question here about BIM 360 Ops. So, are they planning to develop a Android application? That I do not know. I know inside of the BIM 360 ideas forum, where people can post like requests or suggestions, people have been asking for that, and they've been voting on that for a while. So, but I don't know what Autodesk's plans are for the Android platform for the ops service. I know on the general BIM 360, the making sure things are consistent across iOS and Android is definitely a priority for them. So while you're putting in questions inside of there, I'm just going to touch on a couple of other things. So our workflow series covered a bunch of different topics, and all of these are now available on demand on our YouTube channel. So this session here, after it's been finished processing, will also be uploaded as well. Now, we do have a couple of upcoming events that I think you'll find interesting. We have a generative design for Revit webinar. That's going to be coming out the 11th of August. So if you're unfamiliar with what generative design is, Georgie is going to go over what the service is, how it actually works, go over some examples, and explain how it can be taken advantage of. So it's a great way to take advantage of the cloud in terms of I have only 3 hours to do something, and I need to come up with 20 options. This allows you to take advantage of essentially machine learning or distributed thinking. This is another way to talk about it. The other one here is going to be streamlined collaboration with our BIMRX Cloud Manager tool. So it's going to be the 13th of August. So the Cloud Manager service allows you to easily upload content into projects in BIM 360. It allows you to also easily add users to projects. One of the things you actually can't do en masse out of the box. So if you're looking to move to BIM 360 and are trying to figure out how you can manage uploading multiple projects or creating projects all at the same time, that will be interesting for you. All right. Well, if there are any questions that people have afterwards, you always feel free to reach out and contact us. You can reach us at the microdesk.com website, our numbers in the US, UK, our sales support email. We're always there to help out. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day. Cheers.